Well, welcome to the What If the Bakugou and Deku fused together. So, let's start with the Miss his or Miss Bakugou. That's what I was gonna try to say her name. Mi, eh, uh, uh, Misuki or Midoriya. Misuki Midoriya. That's what her name is. That I created. If both of their parents fused together. Or if Bakugo's like Mitsuki Bakugo and Inko Midoriya fused. And they're so the Mashra Midoriya was, you guessed it, it was the both husbands fused together. So, I was looking at my book. So both of them got married and had actually not just one kid. They had two kids. Bakugou Deku Zuku or not Bakugou Deku Midoriya or Bakugou Midoriya thing, and his sister was actually I'm gonna was imagine Momo. Oh, imagine her with green hair and Momo Midoriya. That I'm trying to think of a names, but it's so confusing me. So the her brother has explosive quirk and the regeneration quirk, strength enhancement. Basically, he could easily turn the entire world to ash if he wanted to. He has no limits on any of his abilities. He's not like Canon Deku or not Bakugo, but he could easily become a villain. But at first, he was like, yay. After he saw Almighty, ain't he? It's actually, if if Stars and Stripes and All Might fuse together. Almighty. These stars. That's what. So then, and Momo Midoriya, she has like a similar, almost similar to her canon counterpart, Momo Irozu one, but she has telepathy and the control machines and gravity and basically like them overpowered. Both of them could be overpowered if they just and so then the I'm also gonna add this other version of Todoroki one. Actually, hold on. So when they went to a quirk doctor, the quirk doctor says, "Oh my goodness, your children have more power than any one that I ever encountered." He countered a lot of like just the low tier ones, but when the doctor saw the high tier ones, he immediately became like, okay. So then they were like doing all their things, and when they reach or sang near one, they encounter two different togas. Or one or one student who that had was actually trying to think. It was Shiraki-sen. This is my version, not the canon one. And so, in my version, instead of him getting abused thing, he just like, or they're just like, okay, have fun. Don't kill anyone else, okay? So then, and the number two was actually her. So, here. So both of them is high, and they introduced to a class, and then after that they all visit during the lunchroom. Like, she actually sat right next to Momo Doria and told her that, and her brother's kind of excited. Yeah, he's always like that. Man, he and I are like both ends of a spectrum. And she says, "What do you mean?" Well, compared my brother, er, my brother's the powerfulest one. Like, he can explode things, he can self revival, and do everything without actually doing anything. And me, I can create stuff, and the same thing. Our power levels are off the charts. Ooh, that's cool. As both her and the entire lunchroom drum and bakugou deku Midoriya, sorry, was able to be like, huh. And one time he had to stretch his leg, or actually it was off school lots, but he stretched so hard that he pulled a, or actually scratch that, I was gonna say like he used his super move. So then they're like, okay, hi, bye. Oh. So then when they reached 15, she says, are you going to UA? As Doria says, yeah, keep my brother from using his power. As he says, I heard that, little sister. Huh. Yeah, you did. So then during the exam, or like before exam, he is so excited. He actually blasted all the way to the, how will I put this? He blasted all the way to exam area for being a hero's kind. All right, as so then Momo, oh him Midoriya. Huh? I'm trying to think of, was like, you're an idiot. As then some, or as she was walking, she meets Todoroki. Is there a name of Araka? I think it was called. Hold on. Let me look her up, because that would have been quite hilarious if I didn't remember her name. Hold on, give me 1 minute. Where is it? Herman, no. Tanya, no. Oh, okay. Oh, Chaco Oraka. Okay. Todoroki Oraka. That's what her name is. So she accidentally ran into her, and Todoroki Ochahako or Oraka says, "Oh, all right," as or because she actually ran into her. And that's okay, as Todoroki Oraka, she had like gravity, just like Momo, oh, and her canon counterpart. But instead of she getting sick from it, she actually burns up, or she uses her ice to do it. Like she can, and she actually used, or like during the exam thing, written part. So Zuku, or Bakugou Midoriya, that's what I'll just say, got 100% on it. Then he waited, and then the music night. I really need those photos things. Yeah, she would be like this, but way more. It's like a fusion of Midnight and Music Mike, and it's like okay, and the Warp Race. It was actually a fusion of like of Kirigiri and Eraserhead. So then, and also someone was was actually Targo, or her. So she ends up was there, and she loves violence things. So then they're like, okay, plus the robot part. He says, I can't wait. As his, when they hear the crackling part, he was getting too excited. So, as he actually rips the gauge like out of existence, kind 3, 2, or instead of like 3, 2, 1, and he took out all the robots with just like how much speed. He only did it in 0 seconds, like. That, plus he took out 1-pointers, 2-pointers, 3-pointers with so much more force. She's getting impressed that she says in her head, that boy is quite literally powerful. Because she, and of course, her and Todoroki Ochako, or Oraka, sorry. Huh? And in this world, it's basically just similar to my Todoroki Deku one. But Bakugou Deku is so OP that he his sister's trying to like his sister wants to calm him down before he starts exploding everything like an entire world. So then Todoroki Ochako took out just one 3-pointer thing, and she tried to dodge a rebel and all of that stuff. But Bakugou Deku just went up and because he saw his sister was trying to help Todoroki Ochako, and he sees a robot or giant 0-pointer robot's hand was gonna touch them or like smash into them. He like, oh, boom, blows up like impact away from his, and he also he used all of his power and like boom, like Godzilla's roar thing. How happy he was as so Bakugou Deku left the debris off of her in that one attack. And so Todoroki Ochako had feelings for Zuko too. So then when Almighty said or saw how much power that boy wields, he was doing his best. Like he even like did all that. Like we're all and had so much power. Or that it's just insane. And then I'm skipping the heroes versus villains thing. Because one, Bakugou Deku who would get first place. And so they chose their superhero names before ESJ. Or was it before or after? Doesn't matter. I'm gonna pick. It has like. How about after? Or no, it was before the or after the heroes versus villains. So it's in this what if. So everybody is like, okay. So people that were in that class was actually was the rock guy that talks to birds one, puffed up guy, invisible girl, and like, here, let me show you. Like all of them, except in this what if, Monoma, or whatever that guy's name, that guy, was not being a weirdo, but instead, and he's more relaxed and like, because he already has a girlfriend, actually. During his school thing, and she was being weird, same thing as him, but both of them was dating. So then they're like, okay. So their hero names, because so like I'm keeping their like hero names, and they're like that, and but his sister Monoma Midoriya chose to adopt the, where is it? It was one, two, three, four, five. Trying to look her name up. So, what her pro hero name is. Oh, okay. It was correct. He did. I think that's how you pronounce her name. That's her canon version. But in her original, or in this what if, she adapted to Ultimate Savior. And her brother picks Ultimate Destroyer. As they're like, oh, that fits with like both. And then Todoroki or Raka was Gravity Ice or Ultimate Element. Because she is not afraid to use her fire quirks. So they're like, okay, yep. Okay. So then and she got into class 1A. And her superhero name is basically Flame Pepper. So I was gonna put her in Lang because her what she was fused with, Dobby, or so her she has the same last name as her. So both of them are twin girls. Was gonna do that, but I was like, no, that's too wacky. So then they're like, okay, good. So they were doing all their things. And then at ESJ, a portal opened, and a person that came through wasn't Shiraki-sen. Was not. But it was a powerful being called a sentinel. That's what I'll call him. Because I'm adding a few characters when I do playing. And so, sentinel, he ends up like saying, we're here to kill All Might. And you heroes, or you guys, as he had this calm attitude thing. Everybody was at there, and they start battling. Bakugou Deku says, alright. As he says, I'm not really fond of trying to kill all the normal low-life things, but as he 13 was like, okay, as the erasing portal says to 13 to hold students back. So they did. As Bakugou Deku looks at his sister and says, how about we, as he points to, or all of us go that way. As his sister agrees with him, as even 13 says, that's a good idea. So everybody was going to go out, but the door slammed shut. And so Bakugou Deku, so the warp creature thing, went right in between them and their exit thing. But Bakugou Deku says, Get out of our way, Sore Eyes. As he ends up moving so fast, he took that warp creature out. Not Kirigiri. I was gonna add him in, but then I was like, nah. Or, yeah, let's do that. Kirigiri is that. And he got flung across the entire, like, USJ, hitting every villain, knocking them out, and the hitting his master thing. And he also used the other hand to explode the door, like, into molding hot lava. He says, go, go, go. As one of the Nomus, or after almost everybody except for him, and 13 was, or like, Ugo, as Bakugou says, or Bakugou Deku says, no, as he threw 13 out, as a Nomu hits, it's the Bakugou, boom, as he and 13 says, Bakugou, calm down, or Bakugou, as he says, why did he, as Bakugou gets flung, getting hit, and he grew his, or like, you know those scenes that, like, the person has their head gets ripped off and the spine's still connected? Yeah, so he got hit in the head so hard, his neck, or his entire head, just got bolted off. As one of them, or one of the, or the leader of the villain says, well, he's so weak. As when Bakugou Deku heard that, he instantly came back to life, and, or actually, he came back to life, and he says, you're really starting to piss me off. That's what he is saying. As he went, grabbed Mr. Void, I'll call him that, because he grabs him and went away, and threw him out, and he used all of his power, like his rage. He straight up murdered, like, entire thing or knocking everyone out and killing the Nomu, oh, instantly with how much power, as he literally says, "Who decided that?" As that was his words, "Who decided that?" As the entire USJ would have been shackles, like ashes, kind. Like, the entire USJ got obliterated. As he was mad. As, oh, hold on. I accidentally clicked on the wrong picture. So, Momo told 13 that wait until he's done with his super move. As 13 and looked at her and says, "Wait, what do you mean super move?" As then she says, "Well, I have been around my brother a really long time. His super move is nuclear blare. It's a most powerfulest move that only he can wield. He can basically could kill anyone if he so desires." As then Mr. Void was, as they looked at her and says, "Really?" As then right after the explosion with such group force, they thought it was like a bombing rates coming kind. So then Toga, finds that cool. And as some of the students looked at him with such shock that he is actually standing ending with his hands on his hips, and he was like, "Huh. English, I have siphoned off some of my power." When Almighty showed up, or Almighty showed up, he was, or actually she was, more accurate term, it was, so she was surprised that someone had enough power to destroy the, so they, heck, Shiraki-sen was at class 1A, was shocked that someone with that much power couldn't even exist at time thing. So then Momo looked at her brother and told her that, or they looked, or she looks at them and says, "Don't piss my brother off." As they all look at her and says, or look at each other, says, "Yeah, we agree on that." Because heck, the Endeavor in this what if Endeavor was the same, or was in the same thing. So when he saw that much destruction from just one person, he went from being like, "Okay, what's the damage?" to, "What the heck?" Heck? How is this possible? I can't believe someone as because Bakugou deku is OP character as he like so so his sister was like, good job, as 13 looks at her like, really? As Momo secret or told 13 that he had to siphon off some of that extra overpowered stuff. Oh, okay. That makes sense. You know, like those zits things? Yeah. Those ones that are like, really have to. Man, pumping? Yeah. So then, after that, he gets. He actually didn't, like, meant to do that. But his power level was 39 point million trillion billion. So then so then All For One saw the news or that feed thing, and he's like, that boy is too powerful for him, or that, or he can, or this is what he says. That boy is too powerful, or is wielding too much power. What is his name? As the doctor says, well, his name is Bakugou Midoriya. He has a sister called Momo Midoriya. So Bakugou Midoriya has wielded so much energy. Of course, that was at the villains part. But at the UA aim, Bakugou Midoriya. Huh? Went up to the Principal Nezu's, or Miss Nezu. That's what. So she tells him, you know why you're here? Yeah, to get punished for my actions things? Yes. It would be only 1 week. And because he didn't disobey anyone, he just like he or he just got grabbed, so it was just 1 week. No, like, you have to write the apology to 13 and that. Because he actually did say that, like, sorry about that. As 13 says, that's okay. As then when she looks behind him, that debris thing, all of it is getting rebuilt. Because he says, that's a cool power that I have. Self-rebuild. As 13 and all of them were shocked, except for Momo Midoriya. So he, Momo Midoriya was like, good job, little brother. Well, then Hashiri, or I was gonna, or Green. I was trying to think of her name. It was like her and her fused together. Musky or Mystic. I'll just call her Mystic. So Mystic Midoriya she heard about that incident and she ends up she says, how are you feeling? You okay? And or they're saying, we're fine. How about you? Okay. And you're still alive, so that's good. They were living in a mansion. Or in a house. Not an apartment, not a mansion. Like a between. But then Momo says, well, it's got some of us siphoning off. Heck, Nezu called on her and she says, well, he actually needed to get some of that siphoned off. Because during those nights that he didn't, he releases that bad smoky thing. So he had a window open and like with that was weird. Sorry. I had a bird like looking at me through the window. So then they're like, okay. So then and Nezu understands as he like hasn't or he really the next day he went to class and everyone was like, are you doing okay? Are you alright? Any wounds? As Bakugou Deku says, well, no, and I don't have any wounds. Just let's keep her, okay? Heck, Todoroki Ochako was asking him if he was okay. So was her. So, in the sports festival thing, and so then they skip or actually, I'm skipping the race one and cavalry battle because Bakugou Deku or Bakugou Midoriya was pretty powerful. So he actually had enough power to he went so fast, like boop, done. He went all the way around the entire thing in about 1 second. faster than anyone. And then the Momo, who was like, good job. She got 30. And then Todoroki Ochako, or Raka, sorry, got second. And then third place got to was actually it was Tinya got third place. And then he does all that and like under 1 minute. The so then Togo was 32, and then they're like, okay. And then Cavalry Battle, the Todoroki Ochako, or Oraka, Maya, and Dark Shadow, or Dark Bright, was won the first one because Bakugou Midoriya had a special technique, and he ends up beating everybody. Then during the fight one, him against Rain Dude lost, and then like all of them made through, and they're like, okay. So then only 4, her like Dark Bright was against actually his sister, against Bakugou Midoriya's his sister, and won. Or his little Bakugou's sister, Momo Midoriya, has his little sister, or Momo Midoriya, won, and then so then now it's time for Bakugou and then Todoroki have their fight thing. So they were basically battling. She actually, or during the one of the rooms, she actually walks into or where Bakugou Zuko was, and straight up told him that she really likes him, and so of course he says, my sister is, she's in love with you too. because I'm just gonna add it, so no matter what. So he says, okay, and by the way, he have fun. Let's have fun, okay? Because his kindness made Todoroki Ochako blushed. Uh, and so they started their fight thing. She threw ice spikes right at Zuko, and he does like a similar thing when he did to or what Bakugou or Canon Bakugou did to Todoroki, or Canon Todoroki did. But so then, so he ends up like, okay. And then when, oh, Todoroki Ochako uses her fire, and she straight up like turns him into bones. Just bones. Like, and everyone saw that they all thought he was dead. So then he used his hand, like his skeleton hand, and grabbed her ankle and threw her out of the ring. And then he says, or they were like, what? As his sister says, he's putting himself back together, or he's reforming himself. It's a painful process for him. So as he's like, he's seeing his organs, and then his like veins and meat and skin, and it was pretty disgusting. As he was, or his school outfit, like his top part and his shoes got burnt off. As Hank Endeavor saw that, like, okay, my little daughter is using her fire. But when he saw, or when he saw his sister get thrown out by a skeleton hand, and he's regenerating, he went from being like this to, what the heck? And of course, Momo says that, my friends, is why he has self-regeneration. Like self-revival kind. He comes right back to the as everyone was like, okay, next fight. As then it was against him against his sister. And so before, of course, that Tyga, she ends up like she literally walked into where Bakugou Midoriya was at and told him that I'm starting to like you, or actually she says to him that you did pretty good out there against my big sister, because as so basically as thanks as then this round starts, and as he looks at his sister, says, "Are you ready?" As he's or his sister says, "Yep." And don't worry, I won't be killing you, because you're my brother. As the entire audience wants more blood, so they forced, or they said that, and well, they are trying to kill me. As he so Monoma or Momo, well, or Momo Midoriya was very happy for her brother, so they both start battling each other. Like at first, they were like, of course, then they're like, boom, oh no, boom, boom, oh no. As Bakugou's Midoriya uses his explosions, his own custom ones, as he literally used impact, and but Momo used her own shield thing and deflected, and then comes in. Of course, she was trying to grab like the punching bag thing, or like Rock'em Sock'em one. The boxing gloves, that's what it is. To knock her brother out. But ends up like sometimes she has these miscalculations. So she ends up creating a cannon and shot her brother right through the chest. It went all the way through. Huh? And everybody's like, yay! Only a pro heroes are like, whoa, that's too violent. As he says, ready? As he used his own explosions again, or he went, or he actually grabs as he throws Momo right out of the ring, or his own sister right out of the ring. As he's regenerating it, or like painfully, like as he was pretty powerful for. So Endeavor was like, "Whoa, that boy is too powerful for it." Even though, so then they're like, "Okay." Then with all that power and so much control of it, he got first place. Ochako got, no, Momo got their second place. Or no, Momo got third place actually, and then Zuko, or no, Todoroki Ochako got third place, or second place. Sorry, yeah. So then, it was end of the then Camp Arc. It or actually that exam thing. Endeavor literally, like, because he only wants bakugou Midoriya to become, or to join his agency. Heck, Todoroki Ochako, or actually, or she had a totally different family. Or her father was actually an Endeavor, and then her mother was a like Ice and Gravity. So then, so she joined, and then her and her sister joined, and so then Momo, who Midoriya, joined the that girl with the 3 snakes on top of her head, and and trying to look, but give me 1 minute. I'm trying to look her up. She was the Emblem, and so did I forget to mention? Yeah, probably did. But so they both had a cousin. Actually, their cousin was, or between Bakugou Midoriya and Momo Midoriya, what their and their cousin was trying to find. It was. I'm trying to think. Was actually one of the big threes. Narrow Drill. Or Ninja. The one that like is in the big three, that girl. So she ends up like because that's their cousin. And their other cousin is actually. This might sound weird because Shiraki-sen is the. But their cousin is actually Shiraki-sen too. So they're like, okay. And they're like, okay, now. So they're like, okay. On the. It's just so wacky. Like, after. Or during the exam thing, Bakugou heard something as he says, I'll be right back, Endeavor. As he goes and finds out that Edatinia was on the ground and Hero Killer Stain was gonna finish him, but then Bakugo Midoriya says, you're really not my type of fighters, aren't you? As he straight up kicks him in the jaw, or like in the chest thing, sending, and he like basically grabbed Edatinia and Native, ran or flies so fast to the hospital, came right back, and Hero Killer Stain was like, you must be Bakugo Midoriya. Probably legends are true. That you blew up the UA and or USJ. Yeah, it was not my fault. I had to siphon off. As he starts battling, and the or Hero Killer Stain does that monologue thing, and then it's like, okay, done. So, and I'm skipping the camp one and that. So he basically took care of it. So basically or it was symbol of, or actually Infinity Destroyer, has like brought in Hero Killer Stain. And people are blessing him, and all of, or Endeavor boosted their high ranks things, all that stuff. So, skipping all that, then Camp Park. I'm skipping the Camp Park, so Bakugo Midoriya got kidnapped, and when I said that, why did I picture like would you rather question. Sorry about that. I had my phone just randomly shut off. So the when he got captured and doing all that, and plus that one that I was thinking about was Lord Frieza's would you rather question things. That's why I said that. And so let's begin with. So Bakugou Midoriya got kidnapped, and he also got everybody's worried about him, but only person that really doesn't worry about him is Momo. Oh, or his sister, Momo Midoriya, because he actually has the power to be. It comes out of his mouth too, so he ends up looking as he like boom, bam, like Godzilla thing. Just okay, and pro heroes found the signal thing, and they like won, and then Almighty was gonna get toe to toe with All for One, and ends up she lost, and right before she gets the final hit, Zuko stepped in and took a hit for her, and his outsides or his insides became his outsides, like because he wasn't just holding back. He was, those or that really big arm that he has, so it pierced right through, as he says, well, let's blow that helmet clean off, as he walks closer and closer, and he grabs the helmet part, and he says adios, as he crushed the entire helmet with just one giant explosion. And he also, thinking this isn't not canon one, but when Bakugou Midoriya says, as he, or this is what he says, or before, when he got punched all the way through, didn't hurt, as when he didn't, and he walked up and kicked all. Sorry. Sorry. So, Deku kicked all for, or no, Bakugou Midoriya kicked All for One, where a strength doesn't shine. Mhm. So hard that like his insides became his outsides too. You know, like that in Mortal Kombat or Combat. Yes, and he ends up, or one of the characters used their special move and kicked them so hard that their skeleton, or like their head and their spinal cord, popped out of their her. Yeah. So then, so he did that, as everyone like was like, okay, hi and my, he as he was like, okay, as Momo, who saw her, or actually Momo, or their mother and Momo Midoriya was saw Bakug, their brother slash son, went and did that. And so all for one was like, ouch. He like, as so all for one got killed. As he was like, as he was pulling him, or actually Bakugo Midoriya pulls him out of that thing. He did that, and he walked away, or like he jumped away. As and Almighty, she ends up like doing all that stuff. She's like, okay, that boy is is more calmer than. So the so Meshra Meshra, she Midoriya knew that her brother, or her son, can never die, but she still yells at him for, like, why did you have to be a that? As he says, "Don't worry, Mom. I'm still here. I'm still alive." So he is basically immortal. Could cause endless destruction. So is his sister too. So they're like, okay. And then times went go by. The overhaul. I'm skipping that thing because Zuko or Bakugo passed. Yes, Midoriya, or, no, Momo Midoriya passed. Class 1A passed, and then they're like, okay. And so Todoroki Ochako and her sister was dating Bakugo Midoriya. Almost said Momo Midoriya. So at the same time, because their kid would be, or kids would be used. Like, bakugou like everything, and they're like, yeah. So, and for Ida, well, not Ida, grapefruit guy, the Myora, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Him and his girlfriend, actually, after they got out of school thing, they got married and had was has one kid that has so much power, or he actually had, or that's what their kid looked like. Grapefruits on the back of his back, or actually he uses just like Momo's, but so they're like, okay, then they're like, okay, it was called double date for them. Um, so to not how the Ochako, or how about Todoroki or Raka, more accurate term, and Bakugou Midoriya with her sister. All three of them got married to each other's, laying, and their kids. And was for her and him was created Todoroki Deku Bakugou Midoriya. That's a pretty long name. I'm trying to figure out whose. And then the Tigya, or she ends up having or her own kid with Zuko or Bakugo, what created the Deku who or Zuko Midoriya. Because I know. I'm so Zuko Midoriya. Because all of them are. So they all. And so Momo Midoriya actually got married to Tinya, Ida Tinya. And then their cousin ends up getting married to her. Not the anyone else. And then all that stuff. So now, tomorrow or next week, or will be on a what if. Yeah. Yeah. all might, or no, it's what if Deku had every single person's quirk. Like, I'm talking about, like, this is a different kind of one. And, like, he has, like, class B's and class A's. And before we go, there's one thing. On that exam thing, bakugou got, or he got, like, 1 bazillion, or no, drillion per points, more than anyone. He broke, like, almighty here. There's record. Like, then, and all of that. So, and I was working on, for my sketch one, if you're still hanging around, meet Zuku Monkey, followed by Todoroki Monkey. And I was gonna add, this is the Dark Shadow Monkey. I was trying to make him look like that one, but with a bird head instead. So with these three things, or with these three, is with one cost 5 likes. Getting 2 of them is 10 likes, and 3 would be 3 or 30 or no 13 likes. I was gonna say 30 likes, but then I was like, nah. So then, hey, if you like, share, subscribe, and do all that that normal things do, I'll throw in a picture of the one of the pussycats wearing Bakugou's explosion thing with cowboy boots. So, Cheerios. Bye bye.